Hello everyone, I'm Phoenix Tremayne, and today we're going to be talking about Tyler Perry's Bruh. It came back with not one but three new episodes as we get into the second half of season 1. We got episode 13, Playing with Fire, episode 14, On Thin Ice, and episode 15, Blue Sports Car. Normally I would do the episodes separately, but today I'm just going to do them all together. Tyler did what he does a lot, and he stretched out some scenes way too long, so it didn't make sense to me to have three different episodes uh, when there wasn't really enough to cover for three videos. It didn't make sense. But I really looked forward to the return of Bruh. Hopefully you did too. And they weren't bad, but we're going to get to it. First, I just got to ask you to like, so that YouTube knows that this is a good place for Tyler Perry reviews. Since I do review Ruthless, The Oval, Bruh, House of Pain, and maybe Assisted Living. You can see my House of Pain Assisted Living reviews. I have 2 up now for the 4 episodes, so you can see my feelings on that. But now we're talking about Bruh, and also subscribe to. I don't know if you're into soaps, but I also review the soaps. I review the soaps. I review Tyler Perry stuff, and then I'm going to be reviewing some other things like, what you call it, show? The Boys. Things like that. Popular shows are also going to be reviewed on this channel. And we're going to get right to Bruh, episode 13. Bill and Regina had a hookup in the bathroom, which is where the show left off at. John tries to stop his mother from going into the bathroom, and you could hear them banging around in the bathroom. So eventually she made her way in there. She said how Bill has such a large tool. I'm going to say tool. And I'm like, the tool was inside of Regina, so how did you get to see the limp? Was it the stroke? I mean, because we sure weren't seeing anything. When Bruh first started, episode 1, we saw Pam naked. You know, we've seen lots of different nudity. This is a streaming service. It's BET Plus. We're paying money for it. I was actually shocked that the scene had absolutely no nudity in it. Yeah, it was disappointing. Especially if you're going to show us the same scene that you showed us when the show ended. So Alice, of course, she did her normal. She came on to Bill, tried to see his thing, get him to turn around. Regina ended up leaving the bathroom pretty embarrassed. She talked to John to see if John thought that Bill was ready for a real relationship. John wasn't sure, so she decided that she's going to go on ahead and go through with a marriage. And so eventually Bill made his way out of the bathroom. Somehow his mother ended up behind the counter with the stripper. I don't know how that happened, but somewhere along the way they end up popping up, and Bill just is determined to marry Regina. So the whole episode was just Bill, Regina, John, and Alice and the stripper, who had no dialogue. Actually, he didn't have any dialogue in episode 15 either. Episode 14 either. So we're going to go straight to episode 14. Episode 14, John tries to talk Bill out of stopping Regina's wedding. Alice makes her son uncomfortable when he finally goes home and discovers that the stripper from episode prior is now doing extra work in the house. And so he's all mortified that his mother is going to be doing the deed in his place. He's so disgusted. But his mother's going to do what she wants to do. And even though she's left like a couple times when he caught her in the restaurant, she lets him know, you know, she's not going anywhere. Stripper's not going anywhere. He has to deal with it, you know. So he decides to call Tom and see if Tom is able to let him stay the night because he doesn't want to hear his mother in there doing the deed. And Tom says, yeah, he'll put some pillows on the couch for him, leave the door unlocked, because for some reason in Bruh they don't lock doors. I've mentioned this several times that, you know, the bros are seated watching the game or something, and then like John will just walk in, no knock, no ring the bell. Even when they went to go see the drug dealer, like his door was just open. And they walked in. I'm like, so in the world of bra, there's no locks. Um, just something I noticed. Uh, so he thanks Tom for letting him stay. Mike reaches out to Pam to try to see if she'll come over because, he's been in his feelings for like 3 or 4 episodes. She doesn't get back to him. So then finally, we get like a knock at the door. And when he opens it up, it's not Pam, it's another character named Fiona. And Fiona is like, are we going to hook up or what? Because I know that's all you want. But Mike wants to cuddle. Mike doesn't want to have sex. Mike wants to talk. Mike is in his feelings. And she's like, is it because of that blue sports car girl? And, he's like, no, no, no. And then, who comes to the door next? It's Pam shows up and I want to say her top is like a 90 or something, a bustier. And so she clearly knew what she was there for because she wasn't particularly dressed for like saying hi. But of course, he opens the door and then Pam sees another girl in there and she of course assumes that things are just Mike being Mike. And that's how we get to episode 15, where Fiona actually advocates for Mike, saying, look, it's not what it looks like. All he wanted to do was basically cuddle. He's into you clearly, and, I'm out. And so Mike kind of scurries her out and does his pitch to Pam, like, I want you, I want to be exclusive, just us, which we know is not going to last based on this being like a comedy drama. We know that Mike is going to mess up, or Pam is going to mess up, or he's going to jealous and mess it up. So we know they're not going to have now just a beautiful relationship from now on. But they end up, kissing and getting back together. So Bill goes to Tom's house to talk about how he's going to win back Regina, and he doesn't want John to know. Of course, John is on the couch. He's like, well, I'm right here. And so Bill finds out that John has filled him in on Bill's quest to win Regina back. And Bill's like, I'm going to do something really romantic. I'm going to get a white horse and show up at her wedding and just carry her off. And she's going to be swept away. And so John, Tom, and Mike are going to try to convince him that that is not the right thing and that, he's not giving Regina a heads up. And this could be a huge disaster. So I guess that's what we're leading up to with the next few episodes coming up. So we had one other thing happen, which was the head scratcher, and it was the cliffhanger where Tom meets with the chief of staff, Linda Hayes, and this was a weird scene because the first thing that came to my mind is, why are you meeting with the chief of staff without your lawyer? Before the show stopped, you were ready for a lawsuit. You were ready to go to war. You know that the chief of staff is something going on with her. She's not being professional. And so he meets with the chief of staff and without his lawyer. And so she's like, Valerie told me the truth, that you didn't do anything wrong. He also mentions that John didn't do anything wrong either. This is basically the same thing happening to him. And Valerie apologizes. Linda feels that that should be enough, that she apologized. Tom wants more to happen. He wants to be fired or something. He didn't say it, but he was implying that that's not good enough because if the roles were reversed, he would be like she wanted to suspend him. So Valerie's like, I don't want to transfer. So Valerie ends up leaving, and Linda and Tom are talking, and he says, well, you have been very unprofessional in the way that you talk to me. And then she catches an attitude like, remember who you're talking to. Oh, and by the way, what do I have to do to get you to have sex with me? And then the show goes off. And me and my friend who were watching the show just kind of looked at each other like, huh? Like, what is? I really hope that there is an underlined purpose for this character, that she's not just horny and she is fixated on John, like obsession number two. I don't understand her because her character is not fleshed out, and I hope to goodness that, because they were like a mystery of like how does she even know what went down with John. So what is Linda's motivation for, one, being angry at Tom, and two, now desperately wants to get him in her bed. So the cliffhanger was a good one. It was one that made you go, "This is so unrealistic," but I'll see what happens next. So I probably would have been more disappointed in the episodes if we didn't get that three at one time. Now I guess we'll go back to one a week, but having 13, 14, and 15 help tell a fuller story. My only criticism is that I think that story could have been told in one episode. Or, I mean, as a streaming service, you're not really confined to 20, 21 minutes. All the other shows, like Sisters, they're all 1 hour shows or 46 minutes, like The Oval and Ruthless and all that. So, bruh really needs to be one of those hour-long shows, one of those 46-minute long shows, so we can actually get all of the guys' storylines in one episode. But even if we don't do that, the characters go on and on and on and on. It's like when my English professor used to tell me when I was writing, like, you got to stop with the run-on sentences. And I'm like, what do you mean run-on sentences? And then I eventually had to learn, because I'm a writer too, so I eventually had to learn, oh, yeah, I am creating run-on sentences. And my instructor was like, hey, and you made your point way, way, way back there. Why are your characters still talking? You've already made your point. And so these are things, well, I learned these things in like high school. But in college, my English professor in college was an amazing professor. I really liked her. She was a writer too, and we both would like, I would give her like chapters of my book. She would give me chapters of her book. She was really cool, and we were like, really critiquing each other. And this is like a college professor, and she was so into my book, which pumped me up, my ego up. That I can do this. I can be a writer, which I've been doing for years now. So anyway, enough about me. You're here for Bra, and I enjoyed the show. I just feel like Tyler can just get to the point a little bit faster so that more stories can be told in one episode. If you're only going to do 20 minutes, you don't need Regina and Bill, especially when you're showing no nudity. You don't need them in the bathroom for 15 out of 20 minutes. We already saw they had sex. They could have been finishing when Alice walked in, at the very beginning of the episode. She could have just pushed past John. We didn't need all of that. I guess it's comedy. We didn't need all of that extra John trying to, stop his mother from going in. We could have had like a minute of that and then straight into the bathroom where they stopped, get embarrassed. They had a quick conversations, and then we could have moved on to Mike and Tom, and really, these 3 episodes could have been one episode. Especially in streaming service where you're not confined to a 20 minutes like you're going to be adding commercials in. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I did enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. I am looking forward to next week. But that is my one critique, is that now, and I used to complain about it all the time in the Have and Have Nots, where one scene would stretch out from commercial break to commercial break, and that was driving me crazy because they were just saying the same thing over and over again. So eventually he fixed it. He stopped doing that. Have and Have Nots now has more stories and more things going on within that 46 minutes they have. A lot more is happening. A lot of characters are getting their stories developed more. Sometimes some are more than others, but it's more like a regular show. And I think that's what Bra needs. It needs some editing. It just needs to come together because we like the characters and we would like to see them all in one episode, and it's not just for drinks. So thank you for watching. I'm Phoenix Tremayne. Let me know your thoughts on Bruh. Did you watch Bruh? Were you happy with Bruh? Do you think I'm right that some editing needs to be done? Or are you perfectly fine with these long scenes that stretches, one episode to the next? Thanks for watching, and I would love to hear what you have to say in the comment section.